The moment his hands brushed my waist, the world stopped. Snow howled like a wounded beast outside, the fireplace dead, and the only heat left was the reckless kind, the kind that burns everything it touches. Gilbert's breath hitched as I leaned into him, our survival instincts twisting into something forbidden. We didn't speak. We didn't need to. The storm had already decided our fate. Before I unravel this nightmare, let me say, thank you. To my subscribers, you're my lifeline. To newcomers, hit that button. It fuels this raw, unfiltered journey. Now let's begin. I am Josephine Hartman. At 38, I had mastered suburban monotony. Yoga classes, book clubs, and pretending my marriage to Marion, a cardiologist 12 years my senior, wasn't a slow suffocation. Gilbert, 22, was Marion's son from a first marriage, brooding, all sharp angles and quiet intensity. He had moved in 6 months prior after dropping out of grad school. We coexisted in polite indifference. Until the storm. Marion left that morning for an emergency bypass surgery. The roads will be clear, he had assured, kissing my forehead. He didn't notice Gilbert watching us from the staircase, his jaw tight. By noon, the sky turned bruised purple. Weather alerts screamed warnings we ignored. The power died first, then cell towers. Wind shattered a living room window, and winter lunged inside. We dragged mattresses to the basement, our fingers numb. Gilbert's flannel shirt gaped open as he hauled blankets. I fixated on the scar above his collarbone, a childhood skateboarding accident. He caught me staring. Nightfall brought a lethal chill. We huddled under quilts, backs pressed together. His body heat seeped into me, a dangerous comfort. "This is insane," he muttered, voice roughened by cold. My laugh sounded foreign. "You think?" Silence. Then his hand grazed mine. The touch lingered, a spark in the dark. Gilbert's fingers curled around mine, calloused and trembling, not from cold, but from something far more volatile. We didn't move. The storm's roar faded into a hum, replaced by the drum of my pulse. Survival had rules, but fear had rewritten them all. He shifted first, turning to face me. In the weak glow of a dying flashlight, his eyes were wildfire. "Josephine," he said, my name a plea and a warning. I should have pulled away. Instead, I traced the scar on his collarbone, a map of his recklessness. His breath stuttered. We told ourselves it was about warmth. Layers peeled off, a sweater, then a shirt, until skin pressed against skin. His hands were tentative at first, grazing my ribs like I might break. "Do you want me to stop?" he asked, voice frayed. I didn't answer. My lips found his jaw, salt and stubble, and the question dissolved. Guilt flickered, but the cold had numbed more than our limbs. Marion's face flashed in my mind, distant, always distant, and I buried it beneath the heat of Gilbert's mouth. We were reckless, hungry, two people starved for something real. The quilts became a nest of lies, our bodies tangled in a rhythm older than shame. Afterward, he didn't look at me. We dressed in silence, the basement now a tomb. The storm still raged, but the danger had shifted inward. Gilbert lit a candle, its flame trembling. "This can't happen again," he said, but his hand brushed my ankle under the blankets. A lie we both clung to. Sleep never came. I counted his breaths, memorizing the rise and fall of his chest. When dawn bled gray through the cracks, he reached for me once more, desperation raw in his grip. This time, there were no questions. By day 3, we had forged a routine, hushed confessions over shared soup cans, fingers interlaced under layers of wool, and stolen moments where the world ceased to exist. But guilt, like the cold, seeped in eventually. I found myself staring at my wedding ring, its gold dull in the gloom. Gilbert noticed. "Do not," he whispered, pressing his forehead to mine. Not yet. The storm raged on. So did we. The storm broke on the fourth day. Sunlight clawed through the clouds, exposing the wreckage, snowdrifts like burial mounds, cars entombed in ice, and the brittle silence of a world holding its breath. Gilbert and I stood at the living room window, our reflections fractured by the cracked glass. He didn't touch me. The cold between us now had nothing to do with winter. Marion returned that evening, his face gaunt from sleepless shifts at the hospital. He hugged me stiffly, his coat reeking of antiseptic. "You survived," he said, as though we had endured a camping trip, not a catastrophe. Gilbert lingered in the doorway, arms crossed. When Marion clapped him on the back, "Good job looking out for her," I nearly choked myself with guilt. The house felt smaller. Gilbert avoided me, retreating to his attic room, while Marion resumed his rituals. Early surgeries, late dinners, absent-minded kisses on my cheek. But everything had shifted. I caught myself staring at the basement door, phantom heat licking my skin. At night, I traced the stretch marks on my hips, wondering if Gilbert remembered them the way I remembered his scar. 2 weeks later, I found a crumpled pregnancy test in the bathroom trash. Not mine, I told myself, though my hands shook. That evening, Marion brought home wine, his voice too casual. "Gilbert's moving out. Got an internship in Denver." The room tilted. I gripped the counter, laughter bubbling hysterically in my throat.
"When?"
"Tomorrow." I cornered Gilbert in the garage as he packed his Jeep. His eyes were bloodshot, his breath sour with whiskey. "You're just going to run?" I hissed. He slammed a duffel bag onto the hood. "What did you expect, Josephine? A fucking rom-com?" His voice cracked. "He's my father." The words hung like a blade. I reached for him, but he recoiled. "Stop," he spat. "You got your distraction. Now live with it." That night, I dreamt of snow suffocating me. I woke to Marion snoring, his hand splayed on my stomach. Dawn bled through the curtains as I crept to the bathroom and stared at the test again. 1 pink line. Then 2. The truth, it turned out, wasn't a storm. It was the quiet afterward, waiting to see what the wreckage would kill first. The second pink line felt like a death sentence. I sat on the bathroom floor, knees pulled to my chest, the test clutched in my hand like a grenade. "Gilbert's child." The words echoed, vicious and unyielding. Marion's razor sat on the sink, his aftershave lingering in the air, a cruel reminder of the life I had poisoned. Downstairs, he hummed off-key while brewing coffee, oblivious. I hid the test in a tampon box, burying it beneath plastic wrappers. For days, I moved through the house like a ghost, flinching at every creak of the stairs. Marion noticed. "You're pale," he remarked one morning, frowning over his oatmeal. "See a doctor." I nodded, ball rising in my throat. Gilbert had blocked my number. His Instagram showed a Denver skyline, captioned "Fresh Start." I drank Pinot Noir at midnight, praying it might erase what grew inside me. The text arrived on a Tuesday. Marion's phone buzzed during dinner, lighting up with Gilbert's name. He squinted at the screen. "Why's he texting you?" My fork clattered. Maybe he's stuck with moving? Marion's thumb swiped open the message. His face hardened. "Gilbert, stop calling. I can't fix this." Silence thickened like smoke. Marion's voice dropped to a whisper. "Fix what?" "It's nothing," I stammered. "He's just bullshit." He stood, chair screeching. "You think I am blind? You've been jumpy for weeks." And him. He stabbed a finger at the phone. He wouldn't look me in the eye before he left. Panic clawed at my throat. "Marion, please." He stormed upstairs, tore through drawers until he found the tampon box. The test tumbled to the floor. His laugh was jagged. "Christ. How long?" I crumpled against the doorframe. "The storm. It wasn't planned. He hurled the test against the wall. You fucked my son? The confession spilled out, a toxic flood. When I finished, Marion sagged onto the bed, hands trembling. Get out, he rasped.
Now.
I fled to a Motel 6, where neon lights throbbed through thin curtains. Gilbert didn't answer when I called. By dawn, Marion's lawyer had emailed divorce papers. But the worst came 3 days later. A TikTok video surfaced. Gilbert, drunk at a Denver bar, slurring to a buddy about banging his stepmom in a blizzard. The comments section erupted. By noon, my face was meme fodder. Hashtag Blizzard Bitch trended by dinner. Marion's final text was succinct. You killed us both. I stared at the motel mirror, a stranger staring back. The baby kicked, or maybe it was guilt, twisting like a knife. I named her Debbie. She was born during another storm, smaller, quieter, but no less brutal. The nurses placed her in my arms, and I wept for the life she would inherit. No father listed on the birth certificate, a mother branded a homewrecker, and a legacy of chaos sealed in her DNA. Marion never responded to the birth announcement. Gilbert's Instagram went dark months ago. I moved to a rented cabin in northern Maine, a town so small it didn't bother with gossip. The locals knew me as Jo, the single mom who worked nights at the diner. Debbie's eyes were Gilbert's, hazel, restless, and every glance felt like an accusation. 3 years passed. The internet forgot me, but the silence didn't. One frozen morning, a Denver area code flashed on my phone. Gilbert's voice was unfamiliar, slurred and hollow. I am sorry, he said, for everything. Before I could speak, the line died. The next day, news articles popped up. Gilbert Hartman, 26, found dead in a motel bathtub, overdose suspected. Marion sent a letter after the funeral. No condolences, just a clipped request. Stay away. Forever. Debbie asks about her father now. He's gone, I tell her. Like the snow. She doesn't understand, but she nods, content to chase fireflies in the summer twilight. Sometimes, I catch myself staring at the horizon, wondering if redemption is a place you earn or a lie you outrun. The storm that started all this broke records, they say. But no one measures the storms inside us, the ones that rage long after the skies clear. To everyone who followed this harrowing journey, thank you. Your support turns my pain into purpose. If this story gripped you, shattered you, or made you rethink the weight of a single choice, drop a comment. Tell me, could you forgive a betrayal this deep? Share this tale, hit like, and subscribe for more raw, unfiltered confessions. Together, we survive the storms.